Legend has it, one man struck it lucky.
This is the richest gold ore he's ever seen in his life.
He went by the name of the Dutchman.
He finally had something that he was the only one that knew where it was, and he was going to keep that secret.
It's a tale of greed, duplicity, and cold-blooded murder.
But when it comes to gold, people will lie.
They say when he died, he took the location of the mine with him to his grave. Dick Holmes and his only son would spend their whole lives hunting for the gold. Their relentless quest became one of the greatest legends of the old Wild West. The search for the Lost Dutchman's gold mine.
C'è un uomo che fa tremare i cacciatori di taglie quando lo incontrano. Perché dopo che è passato lui, resta soltanto il silenzio e la morte.
A vast, unexplored world. A world of mystery. A world of danger.
My mule don't like people laughing. It's the crazy idea you're laughing at him. Now, if you apologize like I know you're going to, I might convince him that you really didn't mean it.
The man with no name. Danger fits him like a tight black glove. He is perhaps the most dangerous man who ever lived.
I mean to kill you in 1 minute, Ned. Or see you hanged in Fort Smith at Judge Parker's convenience. Which'll it be?
I call that bold talk for a one-eyed fat man.
Fill your hand, you son of a bitch!
Shoot them! They're too far and they're moving too fast.
So he starts to check the only things he can check in the story that Walt's gave him. And one of them is that Walt's killed his nephew, he killed him in a specific place, buried him in a specific manner.
The Dutchman said he shot his nephew, dragged him by a chain, and buried him at Agua Escondido, a place Dick knew well.
Dick goes to that place, finds a grave under a shelf, just like Waltz had described, digs, finds the bones of someone, and there's a chain around the neck as if someone had used it to drag a body.
Waltz said follow the old government trail. Look for a boulder that resembled a man's face. Close by would be a house built of rock. Near to the house would be the entrance to the mine. ranch hands also had a very different way of working. They wouldn't jealously hoard information, they'd trade it. They would barter any snippet or clue they picked up out on the trail. They hoped by pooling their knowledge, they could land the big prize.
First is bulletproof vests. Very handy. As long as people shoot you in the vest. But more often he'd use a mechanical device which had amazing strength to lift him up or down. This is modern jazz Wild Wild West, apparently. So here's that gizmo. It's apparently some sort of wind-up thing. And up. A great height.
least we're certain of two things.
Yes, I have a pry bar right here. And he had a knife, which he used to cut various things. This is probably the best stunt cutting, just because it looks really hard. Now this time he's going to use the pulley to knock a guy off his horse and steal the horse.
Cigar? They're from Havana.
One of my favorite episodes with one of my favorite weapons.
You have money. After we kill you, we take the money. What's this?
It's a bomb.
A bomb?
The Derringer also could throw all kinds of things, mostly pitons with wires and strings attached. Here, Jim will use the 2 rounds to pull the heavy box off of it. As we will often see, the ropes and the strings and the wires that he used have amazing strength. These pitons get a lot of use. This is explosives underneath a pail, which catapults Jim up into the air. I talked to a friend of mine who was a Green Beret in Vietnam, and he told me that this was something of a recreation of sticking a little bit of C4 underneath a pail, some guy standing on it, and seeing how high he could go by being blasted up with the bucket. So this is a real thing. A dangerous thing, but a real thing.
Gunpowder.
And Jim will come slamming through the window with great elan. In addition to bombs and smokers, they had flares on occasion for distractions or signaling. addition to det cord, they seem to have some kind of det powder, which, as we'll see, will catch fire on its own and burn through the floor that Jim is standing on. Here's a grenade that gets fired by the pistol. They also had mechanical lock openers, which are kind of reminiscent of You Only Live Twice, the Bond movie.
My coach, gentlemen.
Jim also has a Aston DB5 kind of super vehicle, as we shall see, to get rid of bad guys. The last of the gadgets is, of course, the train itself. It's their transport, their resource area, and their base of operations.
Pretty little girl, isn't she? Pity she's such a...
There are guns everywhere. As it's just, there's one here, one there. Wherever you need a gun, it's there. A team of researchmen can be called into the train to help search for items or people that need to be found.
Here it is. Wolfgang Kraller, Munich University.
Wolfgang Kraller. So Toombs studied under the notorious Professor Kraller.
And the telegraph. They always seem to be able to reach and be reached by remote people for information or orders. It has some kind of secret exit.
How about already set?
All set, Jim.
And it has ways to attack people who break in.
Lancaster 2-barrel. Weighing in at 2 pounds and with an overall length of 11 1/4 inches, this 2-shot is similar to our 4-barrel, but with some obvious differences. Lancaster 4-barrel. Weighing in at 2.4 pounds and with an overall length of 10.6 inches. While this multi-shot pistol is plain on the outside, inside it houses a revolver lockwork paired with a pin and groove rotating firing pin. To start, press your lever to break it open, pop in 4 rounds of .476 Enfield, then snap it shut. And that's it. This really is the Macintosh of pistols.
At first glance, the Lancaster 4-barrel shotgun resembles a pistol more than a traditional shotgun, with its 4 parallel barrels, typically in 20 gauge. Lancaster's creation was not only notable for its number of barrels, but also for its unique operating mechanism. The Lancaster was a breech-loading firearm with a break-action design similar to a double-barreled shotgun, simplifying the process of loading and unloading. Its firing mechanism was unconventional. Instead of having separate triggers for each barrel, the Lancaster used a rotating striker fired by a single trigger. Each pull of the trigger rotated the striker to the next barrel, allowing the shooter to fire 4 consecutive shots effortlessly. This unusual weapon found its place in the harsh and lawless American frontier. The duck's foot pistol quickly became popular among gamblers, outlaws, and lawmen due to its compact size and rapid-fire capability, which made it especially suited for close-quarters confrontations. Its effectiveness in tight spaces and its ability to deliver multiple shots in quick succession contributed to its fearsome reputation. The Gatling gun stands out as a legendary weapon from the Wild West era, known for its impressive firepower and unique design. Created by Richard Jordan Gatling in 1861, It was among the first effective rapid-firing weapons, capable of delivering a barrage of bullets at an extraordinary speed. Despite its name, the Apache revolver has no direct connection to the Apache Native American tribes. This distinctive weapon gained notoriety in the late 19th century due to its unconventional design, combining a knife, a brass knuckle, and a revolver into one compact device. It was a versatile tool suited for a variety of situations. The Wild West wasn't just about cowboys and vast deserts. Along the western coasts, new frontiers included activities like high seas, hunting, and fishing. The Greener Light harpoon gun made a notable impact in this maritime realm. Designed by the British gunmaker Greener, this harpoon gun was intended for hunting large sea creatures. Unlike traditional whaling tools, it used a breech-loading mechanism to launch a specially designed harpoon connected to a rope. This innovative design allowed sailors to capture marine animals from a safer distance, making the harpoon lighter and more efficient than hand-thrown versions. While not a combat weapon, the Greener Light harpoon gun was crucial for survival and trade.